Our 2 p.m. February 3rd Community Services Public Session is now in session. Thank you all for being here. If I can ask you please to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, right over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ashley, has this been published and posted subject to FOIA?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Can I get an approval for the agenda?
I'm going to make that motion. We'll need a second, and then I'd like to have a discussion.
Okay, sure.
I'll second the motion.
All right.
Okay, I'd like to have a discussion. Under our agenda, item 8B does not seem to be either a discussion or a presentation. It seems that this particular item belongs in a different committee. So I don't know if everybody else will agree with me, but I think this item should be removed from this agenda and sent to the Finance Committee because it is a financial matter.
Does that make sense?
David.
David, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. This item, I agree with you, it should be in 8B, it should be under 9B, but for this,
Hi.
this is community service and public safety, and the proper here thus. However, I would agree with you, it needs to be a 9B rather than 8.
Hey,
Please on that.
we can do that. Sarah, can we get that done, or how do we need to do
Well,
it?
you would have to
Motion.
make a motion
To amend.
to amend the agenda to move item 8B to 9B as a standalone item.
Okay, was that a motion, or can we have that made?
Glad to make that motion.
Please do.
The motion is to take item 8B and move it to 9B so that it is a standalone item.
Second.
And I'll second that.
All right. Sarah, you have
Who
it?
was the second? I didn't hear it.
Councilman McKellen?
Councilmember McKellen.
Second, thank you. Thank you, David. All right, we'll move into public comments.
We have to have a motion
Oh.
to approve
The
this
agenda.
item and then a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this?
Well, it has been motioned and seconded. Now we're going to take a vote to approve the amendment to the agenda.
Do we need to vote, or do we need?
Yes.
Yes, we need a
All in
vote.
favor?
Yeah.
Any objections? No. Okay. Next is,
Now, a motion to
Now to
approve the
approve the
agenda as
amended-
amended.
all right?
Right.
Is that
And I
okay?
made the motion.
All right, and seconded. Is there any objection to that motion in a second? Okay, hearing none. We set?
Yep, motion approved.
All right, motion approved. Thank you.
Okay, so now you can
Good.
approve the minutes.
Go ahead to the minutes. Yeah.
The minutes, okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Second? Okay, so approved. Good?
Now you
have to
take the
a
vote.
You have to
Okay.
take a vote.
Anybody object to that? Do we need to vote, or is there any objection?
So
No
without
objection.
Let me just take a minute and congratulate you for sitting over there and doing this. This is your first time running this meeting, and everybody here is going to chip in and make sure you don't fall out of that chair.
Listen, Councilman McKellen, thank you. This is enjoyable.
Thought it was appropriate to point it out.
I appreciate that. We're going to learn this together. We're going to have some fun together today, for sure, no doubt. But are we okay to move forward? Are we approved on all that?
Yes, sir.
All right, good.
Now,
I
public comment.
I believe we're ready for public comments, and some that have signed up, maybe somebody that hasn't that would like to speak, we'll get to you. Every member of the public who is recognized to speak shall limit comments to 3 minutes and observe the following protocol. Address the chairman, and speaking, avoid disrespect to council and any personalities. Confine themselves to questions under the jurisdiction of council. Be mindful and respectful of those who are present and others who may be watching on television. Good? Our first one to speak, Gary Marino. All right. Thank you for being here.
I'm not sure, this is my first time at these type of meetings, and I know like the item I'm really concerned about is the Agenda 9A. If this is time to talk about that?
Sure.
All right. Something needs to be done dramatically with our area and our cities. I live in Shadow Moss. We recently had a shooting that the bullets were pulled from the house. The house was fired, where it was fired from was like maybe 300 feet from the house. I understand the ordinance, whether it's incorporated or unincorporated, is 300 yards, not 300 and something feet. And there was no charge. I mean, the weapons, I understand, was taken, but there was no charge to it. And we've got to do something about this ordinance, about where people have, I understand people seem to have a lack of common sense when it comes to shooting a weapon. So something needs to be done about the area where you can shoot. I mean, there are ranges in the area. You can attend and shoot your rifles. But shooting a rifle in the woods, it's like 300 feet from a house. It's just stupidity. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marino. Andre Massey, next up. Welcome.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Council
Yes, sir.
members. I just want to basically caveat off what he just said. The actual ordinance at 300 yards, firing a rifle, I've spent 25 years, over 25 years in the military and over 25 years in law enforcement, been a firearms instructor for over 20 years. At 300 yards, going through a house, a rifle round is not going to stop. It can still has the possibility of hurting somebody, if not killing them. If we're going to pass an ordinance that's going to restrict that, my personal belief, it should be at least 1,000 yards. At least it starts to use its velocity. 1,000. 1,000. At that point, unless you're shooting something of a 50 cal or 338 Leports, these are just type of rifles, it's not going to stop at 300 yards. At least at 1,000, the average 5.56 round will possibly stop if it hits a wall and it has less chance of killing someone. That's all I need to say on that.
Officer Massey, thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Brock, if those are the only two I have right here, anybody else sign up? Or anybody else that would like to speak? Please, come on up.
Need him to sign in, though.
Okay, do you need to sign in?
Yes.
Okay.
You have the sheet?
You have the sheet. Yeah.
Okay, right here, sir.
Sir, you could, right here. And if anybody else, we have some minutes. Why don't you go right over there and sign up right now so we can have that done? Perfect. Stuff. Thank you. Let me see if I have this. Nicholas, last name?
Lubert, sir.
Mr. Lubert, thank you for being with us. Please.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. So my house was the house that got shot up. There are currently 7 bullet holes in my property right now. One entered through my master bedroom, struck the wall next to me, right next to my 4-year-old daughter. My wife and my 2-month-old at the time were probably less than 10 feet away. The gunfire continued for over 10 minutes, and then it finally stopped. And I thought to myself that maybe this has to be like illegal or something, because my house just got shot. I'm standing in my driveway trying to figure out why there's rounds passing past my house, between my house, and right across the street from my house is a playground. And there's a bullet hole in the tree in the playground right now that you can go take a look at. So my issue is there's nothing stopping him from continuing to do that. That individual has continued to fire. He's fired no less than 5 separate times since that incident after he's already been warned, and has not stopped. So the longer that it's allowed for him to do that, every single Sunday, I got to wonder if that's the Sunday he decides to go out there and shoot and my family's at risk and they get hit one day. So I got to live with that every single Sunday that I'm still living in that house. Now, I've lived in that house for 3.5 years. I love the community. I love the area. I got no problems with, people with shooting and all that stuff. But when I find out that individual has no backstop, he's shooting on a flat range less than 360 feet from my back door, and there's no mitigating factors whatsoever, I kind of have a problem with that. So that's kind of my piece. It's really all I have to say about that.
I know we can have a discussion, but Ms. Brock, do you have this data that Mr. Luber spoke about, pictures, video of how many holes in his house? Did you send that in to us?
I have sent that in.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I've seen some stuff, but I'll make sure we have it all.
Yes, sir.
Please do, and if you don't have it to us all, get it to Ms. Brock, and she'll get it to each council. Okay?
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, just have him tell me exactly where you're from, where's your neighborhood?
Thank you.
I live in Shadow Moss.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And for the public, Shadow Moss is in the town of Port Royal, just for the record.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You have all that, Ms. Brock? Thank you. The next up to speak is Michael Galelbo? Legelbo. Thank you. Sorry about butchering that.
So I wrote some notes down so I could stay on script with y'all. My name is Michael Legalbo. I am a resident at the Lakes of New Riverside. So thank you to the county council members for allowing me to address them. First, I applaud the efforts of the few community members who are speaking on behalf of the lakes at New Riverside and advocating for its safety. However, those individuals do not represent my viewpoint, as I question their credibility regarding the unsubstantiated claims of bullets allegedly flying into our community. Claims that many residents have heard, but for which there is no evidence. With over 18 years of current active duty service in the infantry and military law enforcement, I can confidently state that there is no proof that the bullets are entering our neighborhood, nor is there any imminent threat. The incident involving a claimed bullet that supposedly flew through a fence and struck a house on the corner of Hartwell and Russell Roads was determined by our homeowners association to be caused by a rock shot out of a landscaper's mower. I confirmed this with the HOA, showing them the photos posted on our community's Facebook page, dated from April of 2024. Furthermore, ballistically speaking, with my background, with two 15 to 20 foot berms between the community and the alleged shooting range, the alleged bullet's trajectory was too low, being approximately 3 to 4 feet off the ground when it struck the fence. While gunshots may be heard in surrounding areas, including the local gun range, many residents of our community enjoy more peaceful days. It is not a nuisance. Furthermore, the claim that residents are living in fear is just as founded as the bullet claims. On any given day, you could drive down to the end of Hartwell Road, where the bullets are, and you will find families outside playing and enjoying their lives. Make it known that residents are not leaving our community out of fear. Additionally, bringing WSAV News into this situation has made our community less desirable. We have gained the title Bluffganistan, which is further from the truth. Myself being a combat veteran, that is an insult. WSAV reporter Daniel Cobb failed to conduct a thorough investigation, relying solely on the statements of a few residents. This misleading reporting has negatively impacted our property values, as potential buyers are discouraged by unfounded safety claims, posing a serious issue for our community's economic health. I would like to end with this. I love our community and want to keep it safe. I wanted to keep it a safe neighborhood, as it currently is. This situation has been dividing us, and it shouldn't. I hope to put an end to this. Please work towards a quick resolution so that the media noise subsides and our community can regain its market appeal and its harmony. I trust in you all, and I appreciate your attention to this matter. Thank you, and God bless.
Mr. Legalbo, thank you for being here. Octavia, one more?
Yes, sir.
We have one more, okay. Is it Officer Myers?
Chief Myers.
I'm sorry, Chief, thank you.
Chief, yeah.
Thank you for being with us.
Council, thank you for having me. Again, my name is Jeff Myers. I'm the police chief with Port Royal. On December 21st, we were called out along with the Sheriff's Department for shots fired into a residence in Shadow Moss. Several officers responded, did find where the shots were coming from, and they were coming from inside the county. The shots unfortunately hit a home inside Port Royal. Later on that week, I was able to go out there and visit the residence, Mr. Luber's, and I'll tell you right now, being there firsthand, it's a miracle somebody didn't die. The way the bullet holes are in that property, if somebody was standing there, sitting on a couch, we would be having a totally different conversation right now. I honor you and thank you for bringing this ordinance to the forefront. This is needed. There was nothing in Port Royal in our ordinances or under state law that we could charge with because of the circumstance. It's something unusual. I think it's just something that happened over the very grateful growth that we have in this area. But it's something that's needed. All we're asking for is responsible gun ownership. That's it. Everybody, I'm all for people owning their firearms, absolutely, 110%. But they have to shoot responsibly. And this was not that. It was a mistake. They didn't understand the kind of firepower they were using, things like that. And it was just a horrible situation. But I really commend you for bringing this ordinance. As far as the Police Department of Port Royal and myself personally as the police chief, I highly endorse that you pass this ordinance. I would agree with DC Deputy Chief Massey. If there was to be any changes, it's just I would like it to be a little bit further and out there because of the trajectory and how far rounds go. But I just want to let you know, thank you. Thank you very much from the residents of Port Royal, and we very much support this ordinance, and thank you for bringing it forward.
Chief, thank you. And I believe I know the answer already, but Ms. Brock, do we have that investigative report that your chief cited with all those facts that he brought out?
If not, I have a copy right here.
You do? Okay. Why don't you leave that with us so we make sure we have
Sure,
it?
and we've got pictures, everything. I went out there and seen it, and like I said, it's a miracle nobody got killed. Miracle.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes?
I think the point could be made here that the public comments are dealing with two different communities in two different parts of the county. We don't have a contradiction floating where the incident that people are commenting on is in just one place. Okay, just to clarify that.
And just to further, this council appreciates everybody being here, no matter what side you're on. We have to hear from you to know what we have to do, but thank you all very much for that. I'm going to close that out unless there's somebody else to speak. Hang
So
on
there's
now.
one more individual.
We have one
who would
more?
like-
Let's do it. Please, come on up.
Did she sign in?
You signed in.
First, I apologize. Unfortunately, due to the weather, I wasn't able to get here as fast as I wanted to.
You're fine.
Many things were postponed. My name is Marianne Champa. I reside at 47 Hartwell Road. I live in the Lakes at New Riverside. I am here to say that, in fact, if one lives there and is unaware of what is going on, it would be very, very difficult to be in that circumstance. The noise, the repeated rifle shoots, and yes, I do know about guns, and I am a gun owner. I listened from my backyard to repeated rifle shootings that were quite quick and were also for an extended period of time. Now, we have people who are leaving the development, have their homes up for sale. One woman already sold it. Another woman is scared to death. And there are other people who are frightened by this. I am frightened, and I don't actually live quite adjacent to where many of them are. But in so saying this, I would like to point out that there has been gunfire that has occurred all the way down Hartwell. Perhaps the other gentleman isn't as familiar with it, but I certainly heard it. And I was told by other residents that it occurred behind where their homes were, or at least that was what they were aware of. As for where the trajectory is or where it's going, there's also a noise ordinance, which I would assume when somebody's shooting off at 3 o'clock in the morning, that also should be factored into this. I understand good ownership, and I understand being a responsible gun owner. As I said, I have shot skeet, I own handguns, I own rifles. and I am a responsible individual. But when one is responsible, one does not create noise at 3 o'clock in the morning. At some point, it begins to feel as if it's in retribution for the fact that people have complained. So with my saying this, I strongly support that we do something and that this council actually acts in the benefit for the entire county, because I know we are not alone. But at the same time, I want to also thank the individuals from my development who've been at the forefront. There is one individual who is currently present who actually heard the shots go right by his ear. So if anyone has ever been in that position, you know when it's a gunshot that goes by your ear. It's not something else. So with all due respect, I want to thank you for taking the time. I also would like to point out that, frankly, my property taxes went up, considering that homes are not selling in our development, and that is a fact right now. We don't even have many people are coming to look. And a lot of this is because of the fear of what's been going on. Nobody wants to be woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. My neighbor who lives directly across the street is adjacent to the burn. They have 4 small children. The oldest one is 4.5 years old. The youngest is less than 6 months old. She is scared at times to allow her children to go into the backyard.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Octavia, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, if you don't mind, we'll move on to the Assistant County Administrator's report. Okay, Mr. Robinson.
Good afternoon. I don't specifically have a report for you. I'm going to introduce our Director of Animal Services, Tallulah Trice. She is going to introduce one of her new staff members, followed by Tallulah. Todd Davis, our Director of Fleet Services, is going to come up and introduce you to many of his employees and talk about their recent achievements.
Very nice,
Tallulah?
thank you.
There she is.
I have a question. Where's Mud?
I know, she always asks me what it is. I should have worn my tall boots because she's a lot taller. All right, so at the old shelter, Heather volunteered. How old were you then? You weren't. You were. Yeah.
But that was
She was,
years ago.
but it was like 14 years ago. And so then she joined Hilton Head Humane and worked there over 10 years. And then she moved to, we were very disappointed, she worked with us at Beaufort County and was an asset. And everybody heard me in the hallways go, what did I say? Hither, Heather? I go, hither, Heather, hither, Heather. And then when she left, I felt that weight of not having that person that knows medical, that knows shelter medicine, that knows how to move animals, that brings unity within all these groups that we're working with, including Jasper. So she moved to Seattle, then she moved back and assisted Jasper County, JARM at that point, and then we stole her like I do regularly. So anyway, but now she is a deputy. We're very excited. It has taken a huge weight off, even though you can't tell, like with my hair, but anyway, but she's an asset to this county. She came from New York and has 3 children who are also helping at the shelter when we, short-staffed during this recent little storm we had. So anyway, we welcome her with open arms. And would you like to say anything? Yeah, but anyway, but she's an asset, and I didn't steal her from Franny, so I didn't get in too much trouble.
You know Franny would hurt me if you did.
Yes, she
So
did.
You know that, right?
Yeah, but we're
Thank
very
you.
excited to have her part of our team, and Mud loves her as well. So,
Very nice, thank you. Thank you.
yes. Right.
What part of New York are you from?
Long Island.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, we appreciate, anything we could do for you, let us know. Tallulah, make sure of that, and I appreciate
All right,
that.
thank you.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Nice meeting you all.
Okay. Afternoon.
Thank you for having me up here for this opportunity to help recognize some of my Fleet Services staff. Fleet Services, as you know, we work behind the scenes. And today I would like to recognize some of the certifications and achievements in the years of services that strengthen our ability to support county operations and public safety. These accomplishments help expand the in-house expertise, reduce reliance on outside vendors, shorten vehicle downtime, and ensure vehicles, ambulances, fire apparatuses, and law enforcement vehicles are well maintained. Beaufort County Fleet Services is now a Ford fleet. With that designation, our team receives direct guidance from Ford for factory training on how to properly upfit, diagnose, and modify vehicles. We use this manufacturer-approved connection points while installing emergency lighting. Controls equipment and ensuring that all builds are completely correctly, safely, in accordance to Ford engineering software. With that, I would like to recognize my fleet staff members. Michael Hobie. Michael Hobie, please come up here. Has earned ASE Master Certification through ASE. He's an advanced level specialist certification, and he represents the highest level of technical expertise in automotive diagnostic repair. He has also taken the role of repairing major components previously outsourced to vendors and dealerships. By bringing this work in-house, Fleet Service is able to reduce turnaround time, simplify logistics, and lower overall repair costs. This is Michael Hobie. Jonathan Adams, he has earned the ASC World Class Technician recognition, an honor achieved by fewer than 50 technicians nationwide. More than 250,000 ASC certified technicians, only about 2,000 will reach that level. Spring of 2026, he'll be recognized at a convention. Is that what you were telling me? At a convention, and he will soon be going to fire apparatus training as Fleet Services expands to Sheldon Fire District, Beaufort Fire Department, and the Port Royal Fire Station. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Greg Patterson, he is our emergency vehicle technician known as EVT, which is a nationally recognized certification focused on safety and dependability on emergency response vehicles. Greg is responsible for maintaining Beaufort County Ambulance's fleet. He ensures that all vehicles remain compliant and mission ready. In addition to that, Greg has also assumed responsibility of major component repairs that were previously handled by outside vendors and dealerships. That is strengthening our in-house capability and reducing down time for ambulances. Yep. Randy Gardner, he's recognized for nearly 38 years of service for Beaufort County. Randy began working in the county in the garage in 1988 when Beaufort County was still running the garage. Soon after that, Fleet Services a contractor came in and took over our fleet service program. And since then, he's been working for me. Randy currently handles all Fleet Services roll calls, responding directly to the vehicles across the entire county. As of today, from June 30th, he has responded to 289 roll calls and have been completed so far. Yep. Finally, I'd like to recognize our upfitting team, Sean Alford, Brian Hopp, and Adrian Webster. They have all three completed the Sound Off Blueprint electrical program certification. Sean Alford is our maintenance manager, and he supports the upfitting team by sharing the extensive expertise, technical knowledge, and helping ensure consistency, quality, and safe install practice across all builds. Brian Hopp, our lead upfitter, right here to the left, has also completed the Advanced Welding Engineering Certification, the industry standard training for emergency lighting, vehicle control systems. Under Brian's leadership, and the team is also designing 3D prints. With this 3D prints, we're able to create major components that goes along with the upfitting to reduce costs and shorten turnaround time while maintaining safety and operational standards. Thank you all. I want to thank my team. I want to thank my team for their dedication, expertise, strong work ethic, and commitment to Beaufort County. Their work strengthens our operations and supports those who serve the community every day.
Fantastic.
Thank you for your time today.
Chairman, can we get a...
Would you come up here, everybody, for a picture?
Yeah,
please?
good.
The whole
Try
group.
and get that seal in there.
And listen, as you're getting ready for this picture, I want you to know something. I am a liaison for the Palmetto Breeze. They have a tremendous group of mechanics there. Something tells me, though, do you guys work or talk with the Palmetto Breeze at all? John, Mr. Robinson, do they work or talk with anybody at the Breeze? And the reason why I say it is I think it's Beaufort County's lucky day that we got to meet here like this, because the Breeze is a top-notch organization, great mechanics, but I think you guys conspiring together might be able to help them in some of their endeavors.
I would say mechanics share their trade secrets with one another, but there is no administrative type agreement between the two organizations.
It's fine, but
we do help each other when needed.
Oh, my word. Listen, thank you for doing that. That breeze is a great asset to us, and what you do is tremendous, and if you guys can help, we'd love that. Thank you. Go ahead, your picture.
I think if you guys could stand in front of that and get that seal, that would be a good, just spread, there you go. Don't you want to get in there with them? Don't, you know, that would be good.
Just trying to.
Good suggestion.
Thank you.
Congratulations all.
All right, we are hate crimes. I think that's it for the administrative report, unless I'm told differently. Anything else? Are we good with the administrative side? Thank you. We'll go into presentations, I believe. Ms. Prince, would you like to lead off? Ms. Prince is going to, go ahead.
Discussion.
It's for discussion, presentation discussion. It's going to be on hate crimes, and I've known Ms. Prince for a lot of years now, and she brings a lot of passion and dedication to it, and we're excited to hear this presentation.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to address you today. I'm the president of the Low Country Coalition Against Hate, and I'm here today to represent the coalition and our partner groups because we care deeply about the safety, dignity, and equal protection of everybody who lives in Beaufort County. To make sure we're all on the same page, I'll begin with a few definitions and a little bit of background, and I appreciate your patience if this is already familiar to you. Let's start with what are hate crimes. The term hate crime emerged in the 1980s to describe bias-motivated attacks against historically targeted groups, including Jews, Asians, and African Americans. The FBI defines a hate crime as a criminal offense committed against a person, property, or society that is motivated in whole or in part by bias against race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, national origin, gender, or gender identity. A few clarifications. Hate crimes are not speech crimes. They require an underlying criminal act, such as assault, vandalism, arson, stalking, or harassment. The ordinance that we are supporting provides for enhanced penalties when a perpetrator targets a victim because of who that victim is, not because of just what the crime is. The underlying crime must exist, and both the criminal act and the bias motivation must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, just like any other crime. And research consistently shows that victims are more likely to report hate crimes when laws and reporting systems are in place. I've unfortunately taken a look at all the FBI hate crime statistics. They've doubled since 2015. While increased reporting across agencies does play a role, independent reporting organizations like the ACLU and the ADL confirm that the actual number of incidents has risen significantly. In 2015, there were just under 6,000 incidents reported nationally, about one every 90 minutes. In 2020, it was 10,000, and in 2024, the last year for which there's reported data, it's almost 12,000 incidents, or one every 45 minutes. So in the time we've been in this meeting, there's been a hate crime committed somewhere in the U.S., and by the time we're done today, you can expect 2 or 3 more. Even so, hate crimes remain significantly underreported. Again, when laws exist and agencies have the training to recognize and investigate them, people will come forth and with their incidents. Target-wise, race and ethnicity accounts for over half of the hate crimes reported. Anti-Black bias remains the most frequent. Religion accounts for a quarter of the incidents, with anti-Jewish hate crimes reaching record levels again last year. And sexual orientation and gender identity account for about 20% of reported hate crimes, with gay men being most frequently targeted. Importantly, the data shows that anybody can be a victim. 1 in 5 race-based crimes targeted white victims. 1 in 8 religion-based crimes targeted Christians, and about half of the gender-based crimes target men. Right now, 27 states and Washington, D.C. require hate crime reporting by law enforcement, and 14 states mandate specialized hate crime training for law enforcement officials. South Carolina currently has no reporting requirements and no training mandates. Why does that matter? It ensures equal protection regardless of where a crime occurs. So if a crime currently occurs in a state that has a hate crime bill, it can be charged. You can't charge that in South Carolina today. It improves outcomes for victims, and it strengthens public confidence in law enforcement. Yet we're still lacking justice for hate crime victims in South Carolina. While there are federal hate crime laws, they don't cover every incident. The Civil Rights Act of 1968 banned housing discrimination. The Shepherd and Bird Hate Crimes Prevention Act was the first law to explicitly cover sexual orientation and gender identity, but that applies only when crimes involve interstate commerce or occur on federal land. And there is an anti-lynching act only covering lynching with enhanced penalties for the underlying crime. For hate crimes that fall out of federal jurisdiction, state law must provide protection, and when state law is absent, that responsibility falls to counties and municipalities. Since I've been doing this work in 2018, 6 additional states have passed hate crime laws for a total of 48. Today, South Carolina and Wyoming remain the only 2 states without a hate crime law. While 95% of the U.S. population is covered, 100% of South Carolinians lack protection. Because I engage in this advocacy, I pay close attention to reported hate crimes, and those that strike closer to home affect me deeply because they're meant to. Hate crimes are not designed to just harm one person. They're designed to intimidate an entire community. And here are some of the more recent crimes. In 2015, 9 people were murdered at Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston. Victims included the late state senator Clementa Pinckney, who previously was a pastor at Campbell Chapel in Bluffton. That case was prosecuted federally because federal law could apply because of the number of victims and the fact that it was in a church. But closer to home, here are some other hate crimes. In 2021, headstones in Beaufort's historic Jewish cemetery were defaced with anti-Semitic graffiti. In 2023, racial slurs and swastikas were spray painted at a Hardyville hotel construction site. Last year in Richland County near Columbia, a man fired a rifle at someone who was standing in his yard waiting to get picked up for his work carpool. And the perpetrator said why he fired at him was because he was black, and he was fortunately charged under that county's hate crime ordinance. And just last month, the only synagogue in Jackson, Mississippi, a community about the same size as ours, was firebombed and nearly destroyed. At my synagogue, Congregation Beth Yam, the only one in Hilton Head, we faced several credible bomb threats. We did have BCSO come out and clear the property, but that's happened numerous times. We also hold active shooter training, and we hire armed security for every event in our building. I ask you to imagine what it feels like to walk past armed guards when you enter your church and you try to worship under those conditions. It's not the prayerful opportunity of my youth. I look around. I've always got eyes on the building, our open doors, our windows, even though we have security outside. So these events aren't abstract. They're happening now in the time, and it is something that we are passionate about, and we have support from a lot of your constituents. Statewide, a hate crime bill led by Representative Weston Newton passed the South Carolina House both in the 21-22 and 23-24 sessions. And that bill also passed the Senate Judiciary Committee. However, under Senate rules, a single senator can prevent a bill from reaching the floor. In the latest session, Senator Shane Massey was the lone objector, stopping the bill from moving forward. So we still do not have a South Carolina bill, and South Carolinians who are victims of hate crimes cannot receive justice under state law. As a result, the Municipal Association crafted an ordinance that penalizes hate intimidation. Underlying crimes include violence, stalking, harassment, and vandalism. Those are all nonviolent crimes, and about 25 municipalities have already introduced and enacted that hate intimidation ordinance. The violations are misdemeanors, and they are punishable by fines up to $500 and imprisonment for up to 30 days on top of the penalties for that underlying crime. The town of Beaufort, the town of Bluffton, Port Royal, and Hardeeville have all passed that hate intimidation ordinance. So when hate intimidation violations occur in those municipalities, charges can be filed. But when those same violations occur on Hilton Head or in the unincorporated areas of Beaufort County, no such charges can be brought. So right now, justice in Beaufort County depends on where the violation occurs. The simplest action you can take is to enact a hate intimidation ordinance. That language is available on the MASC website, and I will give Ms. Brock a copy of it as well to send out to you. That could likely be done in just a couple of months through this committee and council at large. Enacting this will remedy the unequal protection for victims of nonviolent hate crimes in the county. However, I'm hoping that you will also consider a second action to support an ordinance to enhance penalties for violent crimes. That language would mirror Representative Newton's bill and include the following: attempted murder, assault and battery, criminal sexual conduct, voluntary manslaughter, carjacking, arson, burglary, and most importantly, domestic violence. When one of these underlying crimes is committed and biased motivation can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, those enhanced penalties would apply. Together, these ordinances protect free speech and the First Amendment while holding offenders accountable for criminal acts. You have the opportunity to enact a carefully created ordinance that strengthens justice, protects our vulnerable communities, and respects constitutional rights. So in closing, I urge you to take action to do these two things: bring the hate intimidation ordinance to this body, and then direct staff to draft the hate crime ordinance so that your constituents, our families, friends, and neighbors can receive justice anywhere they are victimized in Beaufort County. Thanks for your attention today, and I'm happy to take any questions.
We'll open this up without a doubt for discussion, but just let me make sure I understand. The Newton bill, the West Newton bill, and other things, do we have copies of those, Ms. Brock, in our possession now?
I have them here.
Well,
Yes,
make
and-
sure we get those, and also...
Yes, sir, they're in the backup.
Yeah, I thought, okay, make sure we have all that and the copy of your presentation as well. I want to open it up right now. Councilman McKellen.
Hi, Risa. Hi. Thanks for coming over. That was an extraordinary presentation. Thank you very much. To be clear, I think that you're asking us to consider moving forward with the hate intimidation bill as a starter, which is at the misdemeanor level, which would appear in magistrate's court. But to be clear, what we're really doing is seeking enhancements to penalties for an underlying criminal activity. So if there's a separate chargeable offense and there's a conviction, and we can show some prejudice or bias motivation or other discriminatory motives, then that would enhance the penalty. So if the underlying substantive charge was a 5-year penalty, that could end in 8 years or 10 years with the enhancement, if we can establish the motivation was prejudiced, biased, or had other discriminatory motives. Right?
Correct, and that's what we're seeking, is that you have to be able to prove that the underlying crime occurred, and that the targeting of the specific victim was because they were part of the protected class.
Okay, I'd like to just reserve some time here for further discussion, and at the end of that discussion, I'd like to make a motion.
Absolutely. I'll come back to you at the end without a doubt. Yes?
It's discussion.
Yeah. Rita, you said that several of our municipalities have passed that one particular ordinance. Any county adopted the other ordinance?
Not at this point. Richland County has adopted the hate intimidation ordinance, and they're in the Columbia area. This would be the first county to adopt the one that's stalled at the state level.
Yes.
Mr. Moore sent out an AG opinion, and please don't take this the wrong way, but that AG opinion is, I couldn't support this until the state supports it. I support it personally, absolutely. I think, according to that AG opinion and what we read, it's not appropriate for the county to pass this. We have no way of doing that at this point in time.
And that's why I'm asking you to get legal counsel to see if there is a way around it. The AG opinion, as I've read it, and I'm not an attorney, says that it is non-binding. I don't know what that means legally. I am strongly advocating that somebody needs to take the first step, and I'm coming to you because you're the people that are elected to represent us, and I would love to see somebody take that step forward. And I would assume that Representative Newton would be happy to be consulted on this.
Mr. Holbert, would you want to say a few words on this?
I'll get just a few comments from
First of all, I'm a career prosecutor. I prosecuted for 21 years in the Marine Corps and 15 years over at Hilton Head Island. So I'm pro-law enforcement, and I'm very much in favor of a hate crime being adopted in the state of South Carolina. But my opinion is that the appropriate place for a hate crime to be adopted is at the state level. The state is the entity that determines what a crime is in the state of South Carolina. The AG opinion touches around or dances around the issue that a municipality or a local government shouldn't adopt a crime that the state hasn't recognized because the state has preempted the area as far as adopting crimes to determine what a crime is. So a city or a county shouldn't determine something is a crime that the state hasn't criminalized, because it should be a crime anywhere throughout the state. It should be consistent. You shouldn't have to worry about if you do something here, it's a crime, but you cross over 2 feet to another county or city, and it's not a crime. All right, it should be consistent throughout there. More importantly, a hate crime is a very serious crime, and it should be associated with serious crimes. I think you would be trivializing it if you made it a misdemeanor. I don't think you should lessen the impact of what a hate crime is. More importantly, the entities that she mentioned that have adopted this pro forma hate crime as an ordinance, they all have local police forces that enforce their laws for them, and they've adopted ordinances that have adopted the state crimes, repeated it in an ordinance. Beaufort County hasn't done that. We have not criminalized assault or breach, vandalism, or things of that nature. The sheriff enforces our laws, but he enforces the state laws, and everyone that's in the local government that's adopted those ordinances, they can do either for the municipal level, appropriate for a misdemeanor. At the local level, they got to charge the ordinance, or the state law. We don't have a local police force. We have a sheriff's office that enforces the state law. They wouldn't enforce the ordinance, but we would have to adopt an entire criminal code to associate a hate crime with to do that if council chose to do that. So you'd have to say, all right, let's adopt assault and battery or the criminal law code of the state of South Carolina and go through and list the different things that have been adopted by Hardeeville or Bluffton or Beaufort and that are enforced by their local police department, and they can choose to either enforce it under state code or the local code because they passed that ordinance that we have not done in Beaufort County. Most of the time, the serious crimes, well, all the time, the serious crime is going to go to circuit court, and they're going to use the state court because a misdemeanor can only get up to a $500 fine and 30 days confinement. That's why they call it summary court or misdemeanor court, the lower level. It's the lowest level misdemeanor that we have there, and I just think that we shouldn't trivialize it, and we should take the state's lead as far as if it is going to be a hate crime, is going to be a violation of the criminal code in South Carolina and not here locally. Additionally, you talk about you've adopted ordinances to make it a hate crime, and they attach it to different codes. You can't take an ordinance and enhance a state code violation. You can't do that. A state code would have to be enhanced by a state law, not a local law. You can't take a federal law and enhance it by a state law. You have to enhance it with the things that are a violation within that level of law that's been adopted there, if that makes sense.
Mr. Holbert, thank you. Risa, back to you. If I could just try to tie this together. This lone senator that did not allow this to go to the floor for a discussion, approval, whatever, is that what Mr. Holbert's talking about this at the state? And secondly, how can Weston Newton help us to take care of, collectively, how could we help the Senate take care of business on this?
There is a majority of state senators who would vote for this, but the current state law enables one senator to file an objection, which stops any bill from moving forward.
Just to give us the reasons why that senator, did you find out?
I have read what he said. I'm not going to speak for him.
Right.
But essentially he has, the last statement he made is that if people don't like the way he is voting on this or his action on this, they can, and I'm paraphrasing, damn well find another person to run against him and win.
Thank you. I think somebody online wanted to ask a question. Is David or Tab? And okay, let's go to York.
No, go ahead.
They don't want.
They're good.
I think I want to just I want to follow a comment that the chairman has raised at this time, and the politics of. I support the hate crime bill. I think I've been wanting to bring that before this body here for years. However, have never done so. And I think Mr. McAllen had basically talked about it a couple of years ago, but nothing has been moved forward. This is the closest we have come, and now that it's here in the chamber, I would want to do everything I can, and I agree with Ms. Howard that, when our attorney, beside the state doing it and making it a crime, it's hard for a county, and I didn't realize that law enforcement was essential until our lawyer just spoke about it. So how can we move this along? How can we use the wisdom of Representative
Newton?
Newton.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah. How can we use his wisdom to help us? He was once here. So he can probably advise us on how we can move this along, how best to move this along. I would want to take that kind of procedure right now to move this this
thank you.
issue along and stuff. And Weston Newton may be able to help us do that because he knows the system and he's been here at this table. So I would prefer our administrators, our legal team, get with him, or even the chairman of council get with him and see how he can help us and advise us to move this along.
Rita, may I address that
Sure, of
comment? Hey, York, and everyone else, while we're waiting for that momentous event to occur, and while we won't want to do anything contrary to the position that the state has taken, since we simply can't, we have an option to have those discussions to see if there is a way to move the state from their position created by one man's objection. But we also have an opportunity here to do something locally with regard to the hate intimidation ordinance. And I think that there has been a county within the state that has done that. I think it's Richland County. They have a hate intimidation ordinance, and I think we can, as a first step, take a step towards doing that while we talk to everybody else about moving it forward so that we're not one of only 2 states in the United States that don't have a hate crime bill. I'm going to make a motion when the discussion stops to that end, and my motion will be to recommend that we forward this to council for their full consideration of moving forward by directing the county administrator and the county attorney to come forward with a hate intimidation bill that mirrors the one that's been produced by Richland County. And let's see if we can pass that as a first step to show people we are determined and interested to address this issue while the other issue at the state level is moving toward being resolved.
I will second that.
Okay, and we have a motion and a second.
I didn't want to do that until, well, we can have further discussion.
We can still have further discussion.
Okay.
Let's vote on that right now.
Well, we have to see if there's further discussion.
Let's do our, but okay, if we need further discussion, but my last question, and we'll go around again here, is have you had talks with the sheriff, Tanner?
I have not.
You have not?
No.
I believe they'd be receptive, and I think Mr. Gormley's here as well that might be able to shed some light on it, but listen, let's do that as well. But I like Councilman McKellen's point. Yes.
I have a question for a parliamentarian. David, is it appropriate to have a motion on an item on the agenda that's for discussion?
Yes, it can be a motion coming from it. I believe it would take 8 or a larger majority there rather than a general majority.
Well, the motion is to move it, which is the duty of the committee, to full council for consideration. That's the motion. I'm not trying to pass a hate intimidation bill here. I'm trying to get it to the full council for discussion and ask them to pass a resolution to direct the county administrator and the county attorney to work on presenting to us a hate intimidation bill for our potential action.
Yes, it's permissible to do.
Okay, and if you reword it like what you just said, yeah.
Consider it reworded.
And we have that. Before we go to that vote, is there anybody else that wants to say anything in this regard? Nothing. Well, listen, I think we should open it up to the vote right now. If there's any objection, let us know.
Mr. Chair, can you please reiterate the motion just so I can make sure?
Please.
What I'm suggesting is that we have I'm making a motion to refer this to full council for their consideration to direct the county administrator and county attorney to prepare language for a hate intimidation ordinance that could be presented to council for their potential action.
Thank you.
Mr. Dawson seconded.
Did you second? You?
Yes, sir.
Okay, second, a motion and second. Again, I'll say, any objections? So moved. That's approved.
Hearing none?
Hearing none.
Okay.
This is approved. Thank you.
Risa.
Thank you very much. This is the first positive step forward, and I appreciate everything you guys have considered today.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Good time. Say again? Okay, we're going to go into agenda items. I think we'll do 9A. And would that be, do we want to do the gun ordinance, or do we want to do the mid-year budget first? How do you want to do that, Ms. Brock?
Do them in order.
All right, so A and B. All right, A, an ordinance adding a new section 54-8 to the Beaufort County Code of Ordinances as to the prohibit and make unlawful the discharge of firearms in certain unincorporated areas of the county. Who's going to speak on that? Mr. Hulbert?
We need a motion and second on the
All
floor
right.
to begin the discussion.
Do we-
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motioned and seconded. You have that, Ms. Brock? Yes, sir. Okay, so we can start now.
You recall back in November, this committee entertained a request and a presentation from the Riverside community and Mr. Jeremy Bratcher requesting that council consider adopting an ordinance to prohibit the discharge of firearms. We had that discussion, and the committee directed staff to prepare a draft ordinance, refer it to the Sheriff's Office, Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, for their review and consideration. I've done that. I drafted the ordinance based upon an ordinance that was drafted by the city of Charleston and adopted by Charleston. Sent it to the Sheriff's Office. We had some back and forth with Mr. Gorley, General Counsel for the Sheriff's Office, in discussion. I've made the changes to accommodate his concerns and comments, and that is the draft ordinance before you here today. And the main thing to know about the ordinance that's before you here today is that we prohibit the discharge of firearms near residences, buildings, schools, and parks within 500 feet. You'll recall that the Charleston ordinance adopted was within 100 feet. I thought that was too limiting, and we had discussion about whether it should be 1,000 feet, as requested by some members of the community at Riverside. And the Sheriff's Office thought that that was too broad, be too tough to make that case. They thought it would be easier if it's more like they thought it would be easier if we did Charleston's 100 feet, but they could accommodate 500 feet, and it'd be easier to do the investigation and start to make their case that they could present in court if that were to occur. So 500 feet is the distance that we want to prohibit it. That is before you here for discussion and consideration today to forward to council for their discussion and approval. Yes, sir.
Question number one. You said that this was with the support of the sheriff. So this is going to be for all of unincorporated Beaufort County.
Sir.
Question number two, will this be given to all of our municipalities to see if they would adopt a similar ordinance?
I can certainly forward it to each municipality to let them know what we've done in the county, and then it'd be for them to discuss and consider whether or not to adopt a similar ordinance, although they wouldn't have the large spaces like we would, obviously, because there's more density in the municipalities.
Right, they could change the distance.
They would probably want it to be within 100 feet or 50 feet or something like that.
Right, okay, so that we could have a coordinated effort, because as someone said, it was discharged in unincorporated, but the final resting place for the ammunition was in unincorporated Beaufort County. So you have overlapping there.
Oh, in a municipality.
Right.
In the municipality.
In both instances, one was Port Royal and the other was Bluffton.
I might ask, what was the sheriff's position as far as the 1,000 feet?
He thought that that would be too far of a distance to try to determine who shot it, were there witnesses, and where it went, things of that nature, is what his concerns were.
Yes.
Do we know the distance of the incidents that we're dealing with currently, how far they were?
I've heard different accounts. You heard today in testimony 365 feet. I'm not sure if that was Shadow Moss or Riverside. I've heard 650 and 700 feet over at Riverside. We do have residents here that can confirm the distances, but I believe most of the residences at the new Riverside community would be more than 500 feet, which could be a concern.
I think based on some of the comments made by some of the people here in the audience who I would consider to be experts in this area, based on my own understanding, experience, and work record, in my own experience for 30 years in law enforcement, that the weapons that we're dealing with these days can do great damage from great distances. And I'm discouraged to hear that 500 feet is the number. I'm more in favor of 1,000. I'm going to stand on that, and I'll vote no to this if it doesn't change.
I believe that this is just for discussion, correct?
This is for recommending approval to council.
This is to move it on to council.
Move it to council.
For
Okay.
first reading.
First reading. Councilman Bartholomew, yes?
Hey, thank you. So I actually have a couple of questions regarding those. When this was first brought to my attention, I feel like this is more of a jurisdictional issue that could be cleaned up with an agreement put in place between the sheriff and the municipalities. And I guess my thought process is the same rationale that was just articulated regarding the hate crime bill and the uniformity of our criminal codes. How does that play in conjunction with the criminal code 1623-440 and this particular ordinance?
1620, is that the state discharge for hunting?
That's the state code.
For hunting. Well, the state has had some.
Discharge into dwellings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it seems like we already have an ordinance on the books, but it seems to be a jurisdictional issue between.
Well, that's a state law, so that's legislation. The ordinance would be a local law that would alter that to account for the differences in the local area. And I think that would be permissible and would not be preempted by state law because the state has made it a crime to discharge it under certain circumstances. And we're just altering that to fit the needs of Beaufort County.
All right, do they have a distance in the state law?
I'd have to look at it. Have you got it handy right there, David?
I do. In the criminal code, the 1623-440, there's no distance. This is a discharge into a dwelling or aircraft, vehicle, watercraft.
Regardless of the distance, a discharge into a dwelling?
The distance is in a separate code, 50-11-740, and that deals with hunting in the 300-yard.
I understand, but it's a separate code for discharge into a dwelling, regardless of distance.
That's correct. It says it's unlawful for a person to discharge or cause to be discharged unlawfully firearms at or into a dwelling house or building, structure, or enclosure regularly occupied by persons. A person who violates provisions of the subsection is guilty of felony upon conviction.
So that's already there.
Yeah, but no distance. We're just adding a distance.
No, I hear you.
Well, I guess my confusion is the distance portion from an enforceability standpoint in the court. How is anybody going to know if I was 501 feet away or 1,001 feet away?
That would have to be, that's part of the investigation that the sheriff's office would have to do, and that was their concern as far as why they wanted to reduce it down to 500 feet to make it easy to determine where the firearm was discharged from, where the bullet went, et cetera. So they have to do all that investigation.
Well, if the state doesn't need a distance, why would we need a distance if it goes into a dwelling or an airplane or where people are, or school or a playground? Why do we need distance? If the state doesn't have distance, why do we have to put it in to make it a difficult thing to do? Just leave the distance out and go with where it ends up. Doesn't that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
You'd have to.
Is there something there I don't understand?
Yeah. You would have to.
I got it. Okay. Hey, Daniel, can you help me out here? Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Well, you'd have to be able to locate where the bullet
Well, you need
impact.
intent, too. I get it.
Well, but also where the impact of the bullet was to determine what the distance was.
Well, I'm not talking about distance. I was talking absent distance.
As far as but we're making it an offense whether it impacts a dwelling or not.
I understand.
All right.
Sorry, Dan.
No, Councilmember, just to answer your question, as the chief said, we have to deal with intent, right? So if we have somebody in there target practicing, shooting into a berm, shooting at a Coke can on the tree, they don't have that necessary intent to shoot at or into a dwelling, which limits us as law enforcement's ability to not only effectuate an arrest, but also be able to prosecute a case.
Didn't really mean it. I understand. Okay, thanks.
That's where we're, the difference in the ordinance that Mr. Holber is proposing to council, that 500 feet. Now, we'll speak to the 500 feet because that is a concern. We get a call, we respond out there. We've got to, identify who shot, right? So the likelihood of somebody continuing to shoot at the time of our arrival is probably slim to none. B, if firing the gun is not going on at the time, we don't have an exigency to go onto anybody's personal private property, right? So we got to go obtain a search warrant. Then we have to be able to particularly locate where the gun was being discharged from to get 500 feet. Then we have to find who shot it. Then we have to find a home within the 500 feet radius who is willing to come in and testify in court that they did not give specific permission to discharge that firearm within 500 feet. It's a lot of steps. So 1,000 feet, so it's a significant distance. And I'm not unsympathetic to the situation. Yeah. I'm not at all. The Sheriff's Office isn't at all. But what I would prefer is an ordinance that has some teeth and some enforceability, not a feel-good ordinance that we can't do anything with. 500 feet allows us to have the potential to have witnesses that could come in and corroborate the evidence that we need. We do 1,000 feet through a wood line, we're not going to have any witnesses. We're not going to have anything that we can prosecute. But I'm happy to answer any questions from the Sheriff's Office perspective on it.
Councilman Bartholomew.
Hey, Daniel, actually, this is for you and Brian. Just spitballing here. In reading the Attorney General opinion, the Attorney General opinion for the hate crime ordinance, it seemed to allude to the fact that civil penalties are permissible. It doesn't get into this whole argument of different state code and all that stuff. Is there any benefit, rather than trying to go through the criminal route, if we were to expand a civil cause of action and allow the private property owner that's impacted to sue for, I mean, I know they can already sue for negligence, but create an ordinance, a civil ordinance there that allows for attorney's fees and things of that nature?
And there's already a civil remedy in place. They can file I'm sorry, I'm under the weather today. They can file the cease and desist order, go through civil suit for quiet enjoyment, tort actions, as you well know. I think the other issue that we're dealing with specifically with New Riverside is there are a multitude of houses on that road that are discharging firearms based off of our investigations into this. So to pinpoint an exact person who's discharging at that exact time with the litany of houses who are over there shooting makes it more difficult. But from a civil suit, you can certainly bring everybody in. From the civil enforcement side, I would defer to Mr. Holbert on that.
That's the issue. The sheriff is not in the business of enforcing civil offenses. I think there's only one that I'm aware of, and that's simple possession of marijuana. That's a civil offense. All right, anything else, they're in the business of enforcing crimes, not civil offenses. So are you going to ask code enforcement to go out there and enforce this and do that? They're not equipped to do that. The last thing that we want to do is send a code enforcement officer out there without a weapon to try to investigate this and address this situation.
And to the point about working with the other, as Councilmember Passament brought up, it's my understanding, and please don't hold me to it, but I believe the town of Bluffton and town of Hilton Head and Chief, maybe Port Royal, all have ordinances that completely ban the discharge of firearms within the municipalities. So I would be surprised if they're going to backtrack to allow the discharging of firearms within their municipalities. Of course, unincorporated Beaufort County is night and day difference from our municipalities. But that's a lot easier to prove as an outright ban on a firearm. Can't shoot. Now, I grew up in Pritchardville and I shot guns and shot plenty of things. So I don't know if that's appropriate for unincorporated. I don't envy y'all at all. I'm extremely sympathetic to New Riverside and Shadow Moss. I wish there was something more that we could do. I know Chief probably agrees with it. If there's something more we could do. I understand from a lay person's perspective, the at or into a dwelling statute reads crystal clear, but unfortunately, lawyers like to make everything, clear as mud. So we're pretty handcuffed in a sense, no pun intended, as to what we can and cannot do in this situation.
Councilman Glover.
Yes, you just made a statement a few minutes ago that you would like an ordinance with teeth in it.
Yes, sir.
So what teeth would you put in this?
Councilmember, I don't know.
Oh.
Honestly, it's when I say teeth, I mean teeth in the sense that we have the ability to enforce it. You expect a deputy to respond to a call of a discharging of a firearm potentially within 500 feet at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning. If that gun is not going off anymore, we don't have an exigency factor under the Fourth Amendment to go onto anybody's personal private property. We then have to go get a judge, which is fine. We do that on a daily basis. But I'm just bringing the practicalities of what you're asking your law enforcement to do on a daily basis. So we respond out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, no guns are being discharged, no exigency factor is there. We then have to go find a magistrate, get a search warrant, go onto the property, identify a shell casing that was freshly shot, discharged, find the shooter, wake up the neighborhood to figure out who called in, and make sure that that house is within 500 feet of that specific location of where the gun was discharged. We have to prove all of that beyond a reasonable doubt in magistrate court. And it's a tough road to hoe.
I think on your end, I can hear the frustration in trying to enforce something of this magnitude. On our end, we have a community that's saying something should be done.
I don't disagree at all.
And so hopefully the two frustrated people or groups can come together and find some resolution for our constituents. Because this is happening not only in the two areas that are mentioned, but it's happening all over the county. And people are discharging firearms, they're shooting, and it's really frightening. There is no some location. I would tell you, if you ever been to Bermuda Bluff,
yes, sir,
on St. Helena,
yes, sir,
that's not a rifle range.
Right.
But people go there and shoot all the time, and the neighborhoods are very disturbed about that. I don't know how do we bring the two together, the two law enforcement policy, how do we bring that together to make an effective community safety ordinance?
Well, and council member, we do monitor, Major Purdy's here on the south end. He's our major over enforcement on the south end. Every Monday, he runs the reports to see what calls for service we had specifically for the New Riverside area. We're monitoring that. We respond when we get calls, whether they want to meet with us or not, whoever calls in, but we do respond, we do drive by. There are some criminal statutes that could be applicable to discharging a firearm at or into a dwelling if we can prove that intent. I'm not going to get into specifics of how we do that in a public forum, but we are exploring that option. There's also breach of peace. Somebody mentioned that guns were being discharged at 2 o'clock in the morning. That is certainly a breach of peace. If we respond out there and we hear the gun going off at 2 o'clock in the morning and we can identify that individual, they will be charged with breach of peace. There's no question about that. But we have to be able to identify that individual at the time that the call is being made. If somebody's calling from 2 o'clock in the morning from their bedroom, they're not going to be able to identify who's shooting either. Somebody also mentioned our noise ordinance. So as council is well aware, we have to actually have a decibel reading for the ordinance to be able to make a charge on that. So again, it's almost like the stars have to align for us to be able to make a charge, and then further align for us to be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt in court. And it's unfortunate, and I'm extremely, please don't take my frustration or disdain or objections or anything that I'm saying about this ordinance. I'm not. I fully understand. I've listened to the videos and the emails. I've heard it. I hate it for them. I do, and I'm not unsympathetic at all, but we've just got to figure something out.
Can I throw something out there?
Well, just let me say this also. Do not underestimate the deterrent effect of an ordinance, because 95 to 98% of all citizens obey the law. So if there is a law prohibiting something, most people will obey that. It's just the few that the sheriff's office has to be called in to investigate and take to jail.
Joe?
There's going to be no perfect ordinance. If there was, we would have passed it. This is a start. And so I applaud what has been done. And you said ordinances have an effect. It's happened in my neighborhood several times. So I think we should pass this, move it to council. It's going to take 3 readings and a public hearing before it is adopted. So it's not over today. Today starts it.
And I want to be perfectly clear, the sheriff's office is not taking a position on the ordinance. I'm not up here objecting to it or objecting to the language. I appreciate Mr. Holber including us in council, allowing the sheriff's office to be included from the legal perspective. I think we've worked very well together and crafted something that is favorable to us all, that has the ability to potentially be enforced. And
as you said, we can pass the ordinance. You have to apply it and enforce it.
Councilman Bartholomew, please.
Last thing, Danny, while you're up there, there was a mention of the Bluffton PD and the Sheriff's Department and Port Royal PD and Sheriff's Department. Is there a jurisdictional issue there between obviously where it's discharged and where the bullet ultimately ends up, is there an issue with prosecution on that front that needs to be addressed as well?
It would be something that we'd have to flush out, David. You know, if the gun is discharged within the unincorporated areas of Beaufort County, crosses over into the threshold of New Riverside, which is the town of Bluffton, potentially. Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball that I could tell you specifically. I think there's a credible argument for a defense attorney to make, as you well know. But it would be up for a judge to decide, I guess, at direct verdict stage as to whether or not we met our threshold requirements under directed verdict and jurisdictional issues.
And Daniel, I guess is there something that we could do to put in place that could be adopted by the municipalities that has a shared jurisdiction and enforceability in that capacity?
We've done
a jurisdictional challenge.
We've done that before on a multitude of ordinances. I can't speak for the town of Port Royal, town of Bluffton, or town of Hilton Head, but I know their ordinances are just an outright ban, which is much cleaner and simpler than what we're proposing. So I would assume that we would be hard pressed to convince them to modify what they have working for them in their unique situations within their own municipalities. But I mean, it's always worth a discussion. All we can do is be told no. But certainly, if the municipalities were to adopt our ordinances, then we would have joint jurisdiction and be able to be more effective.
Well, I meant like an actual jurisdictional agreement to enforce, you know, for these specific situations of a fired and unoperated.
Well, so we do have the authority to enter into memorandum of agreements, but that just expands, you know, if we were to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the town of Port Royal, that would just expand town of Port Royal's officers the ability to enforce particular codes or statutes within unincorporated Beaufort County. I guess it would be limited to ordinances in that situation. But I don't know that it necessarily addresses the jurisdictional question that could result when a gun is fired in unincorporated and ends up in town of Bluffton. I don't know.
I got you. Thank you.
Mr. McKellen.
Yeah, just a brief one. Daniel, it's not for you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yes, sir.
If this moves forward with a recommendation to go to council for their consideration of this as it stands, okay. In the last discussion we had on the hate crimes, we were able to drill down during our discussion and discover that there was a hate intimidation ordinance that existed. I wonder if there are any counties that have had any success with an ordinance dealing with the issue we're dealing with, like Richland County has with their hate intimidation ordinance. Is there a way for us to find out about that?
Yes, as I mentioned, I modeled this after Charleston County's ordinance. Charleston County adopted the ordinance. It is very similar to this, but they made it 100 feet as opposed to 500 feet.
Yeah, right. But is that of the 46 counties in the state, is that the only one with any success?
It's the only one that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is there a way for us to find out if people have successful ordinances in place dealing with this issue?
We could do some research to see if we can find any other counties in the state.
There's a model there we could use. And I'll withdraw my objection to the 1,000 feet based upon all of this discussion. And to move this along, I'll vote yes for the 500 feet at the moment.
I think Joe made the motion, but is there any reason for us to discuss keeping it at committee right now, or do you want to move this along?
Move it.
I mean, with all these open questions and uncertainty, does it make sense we keep it at committee level?
No, to council.
No.
That
All right.
should be the vote.
Who made the Joe, you made
I
the
did.
motion? Go ahead.
Well, he made the motion.
Yeah.
Who second? Do we?
Ms. Howard, I have you
thought
as second.
seconded it. Yeah, I thought I
We have
did.
a move and
All right.
second, and need a vote to move it to council for first reading.
Comments?
Yes, please, Tab.
So, I've been in this from the beginning with one of the people at New Riverside. It is a concern to the people there. I've been there, around there. This is something we really need to look into. And Brian and the sheriff's office with Daniel Gorley and the others have worked on this. So they know the ins and outs, as Daniel said. And there was Charleston and so on. So this has been, I think we first met, they can correct me, in August.
Right.
But
Yeah.
this is not a quick turnaround for us. It's taken a lot of work on the part of our attorney and the sheriff's office. So I'd support it moving forward.
And since August, there's been an incident in Shadow Moss, so another reason to move it forward. Do you need it by show of hands?
But do we have any objection to moving it forward for full council to review? David, you're saying no? Okay, and I'll say no, but so, Ms. Brock, you know all but two.
It still passes.
Yes, okay.
I'm sorry, am I understanding this correctly, that the vice chairman and the chairman is objecting? Okay, I want to make sure I
Yeah,
understand
listen,
it.
we're going to keep you honest. Let's,
Let's go to the next item.
next item is 9B.
Daniel, thank you.
Daniel, yeah, thank you. Feel better, Daniel. 9B, approval of the mid-year budget amendment for Beaufort Water Search and Rescue. Patrick, thank you.
Referral to,
It's going to move to council.
It's moving forward. Thank you. Mr. Canning, thanks for being here.
Yeah, good afternoon, council.
We need a motion and second to put it on the floor for discussion.
Okay? So moved.
9B.
9B,
I'll make the motion.
okay.
I'll second it.
thank you. Okay.
Afternoon, council. I'm Patrick Canning. I'm here representing Beaufort Water Search and Rescue. If I may, I got a packet to hand out to you folks.
Sure.
This should have been provided to us before this meeting.
Yep.
And we can't review it.
Why don't you hand those to Ms. Brock,
You can hand them to Ms. Brock, but
and then she'll
We
get it
can
to us.
include them as an add-on, and I believe they were distributed to the committee chair.
only to the committee chair.
That's correct. I got it yesterday and I forwarded it to Sarah.
We just can't review something while we're sitting here,
Understood?
and that's in our rules and procedures.
No problem. Okay. Beaufort Water Search and Rescue was founded in 1975, starting out as a local group of boat owners that saw a need for helping others stranded in the local waters. As time went on, they were able to raise funds and secure dedicated boats strictly for this purpose. We are an all-volunteer water search and rescue organization whose primary mission is to support and assist local, state, and federal emergency response agencies in times of need. It has taken years of commitment and hard work by our squad members, both past and present, to build an unprecedented relationship of trust and professional respect with our partners. The men and women of our organization donate more than just time, but miss moments with family, friends, cold dinners, and long nights. Much of our organization's support and funding depends on the continued recognition by local and state agencies of this high level of commitment, competence, and dedication. We are located in Port Royal with 30 members and dispatch from any number of landings in the county when we are alerted to respond to 911 water emergencies. Our second station, located in Bluffton with an additional 10 members, serves the south of the broad Bluffton-Hilton Head District, jointly serving the greater Beaufort County area. On occasion, we are called upon from Jasper and Colleton counties for water emergencies, usually when airboat rescue is required, as we have the only one available. In addition to our water emergency response, we support any number of water-related activities throughout the local waterways, providing for safety perimeter or standby for those in need. During the previous 12 months, our volunteers had responded to 97 rescue missions in our local waterways, totaling 2,249 man-hours. This represents a 65% increase from the previous year. For many years now, we have had two fundraisers, the first being our annual St. Patrick's Day golf tournament at Fripp Island, which raises between $25,000 and $35,000 before expenses. This opportunity no longer exists. Our annual fall fish tournament raises between $15,000 and $25,000 before expenses. We have received and appreciate the annual $10,000 stipend from Beaufort County that they've provided us for years now. As a part of the Beaufort County 2025 fiscal budget, we were awarded $40,000 under the category Hazmat and Marine Rescue, and we appreciate this as well. Our ongoing needs, including general operating expenses, approaches $116,000 for fiscal 2026. Some years more, some years less. Determining factors include service life of equipment. We are currently working on replacing two of our boats in Bluffton and adding two dedicated tow vehicles so as to reduce the burden of having our members use their personal vehicles for this purpose. The year 2025 represents a milestone of achievement for Beaufort Water Search and Rescue as we celebrated 50 years of service protecting citizens and safety of our waterways. In the past couple of years, with the help of our community, we have made huge strides in updating our equipment and rescue capabilities. I am here today to ask this committee for their support in continuing this effort. I thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on these matters. I can answer anyone's questions.
Any questions?
What was
Yes.
the total amount from the county that you, there were two sections of money from the county, was it 43 plus 10?
It's a $10,000 stipend. We've been getting that for some time, and then in the 25 fiscal budget, we received $40,000. That was under the hazmat category.
Okay. Is that the only time you received it in 25? Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Reitz.
Yes, go ahead.
So you serve as Beaufort City, Port Royal, Hillington, and Bluffton. What do each of those municipalities contribute to your effort?
The only municipality that has made any contributions is Beaufort City.
How much have they given you?
They've given us 2 ATAX awards in the last 2 grant cycles, $20,000 and then $17,500 in the most recent.
And have you approached Hilton Head and Bluffton and Port Royal?
I have a current application at Bluffton. I don't know what the outcome is of that yet.
Is it an ATAX application, sir?
It's the ATAX, correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when you came to our state ATAX committee meeting, you were asking for $45,000 to buy a new boat. Is that correct?
I think you're referring to the previous fiscal. This past one, it was $40,000 for, I'm sorry, the request was for $20,000, which would then 50% of the purchase.
All right, so I just wanted council to know it did go to the ATAX committee.
Did go, and I sat through the I sat through the session, and it was my understanding we did get approved and that the ATAX funds ran out and we were not able to get awarded.
Yeah, just for the rest of council, there was $1 million to give, and at the end, the committee had more than $1 million they wanted to fund, so they had to retract and eliminate some things, and it was the committee that voted by priority. I was just sitting there listening, but the committee voted on that.
Thank you. Yes.
I know you're an all-volunteer group, correct? Also, your location in Port Royal is a Beaufort County building?
It is.
And do you pay the utilities on that? Do you know?
We do. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not sure, but this is a question for the administration. Do we have any kind of agreement yet on that building?
We researched that. We could not locate a lease that's in place.
So there's no lease, even if it was like $1 a year lease?
Correct. There's no lease that we could locate.
Okay. Thank you.
What's the request this year?
It's the request.
$40,000.
It's 40, yeah. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Canning, thank you to you and your team for everything that you do for the county. You know, I know people want to debate $40,000, but if you were a department of Beaufort County, I can only imagine how much money you'd be asking for each year. So I have no problem supporting you with your ask. I would ask if it's even viable at this time to amend the budget or find the $40,000. I don't know if Pinky's there. I think I see her in there. I don't know if she can shed some light on it to see if we can actually fund that mid-year acquisition. Or allocation, sorry.
Right. So there's places that we could look for the $40,000 if that is council's desire. It doesn't require a budget amendment, but I would just need the directive from you to administration for us to locate these funds if that's what you're wanting to do.
Did you say it requires a budget amendment?
Does not.
No, it does not, because you would transfer it from one line to another. Okay.
Question. Remind me, when we did our budget, was this even in the budget originally?
It was not. Last year, we contacted all of last year's recipients for outside agency funding, the list that we went over several times, and we did not receive a request from Water Search and Rescue.
Can you address that, Mr. King?
It was stated as a reoccurring line item. The chief had previously done the application for it. We were under the impression it was going to be reoccurring. We had no knowledge that there was a requirement for us to come forward and make a presentation.
Every year we have to.
I certainly didn't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm dealing with-
nothing's a given as reoccurring in our
Understood
budget.
now, yep.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
We're here in February. Pinky, can you tell us, I don't know if this is if this actually exists, is there a council contingency fund? Is there funds granted to us for our use on contingency basis?
Yes, sir, you do have a contingency line item.
Balance on that?
I believe it's 75 and some change, give or take. Don't quote me on the number.
We're halfway through the year, and we have 75.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, Councilman Bartholomew.
Just for council's information, I didn't have any communication with them prior to this coming forward, but it was also communicated to me that this was going to be a recurring line item. But I think with the changeovers of CFOs and processing and everything, I think it just got threw up in the mix, to be honest with you. But it was communicated to me as well that it was going to be a recurring line item. I did not communicate that to them. Somebody else did. But that was communicated to me as well.
Well, the question is, so the question is who communicated that? It never came to council. I've never heard of this. So who communicated that?
I'd prefer not to say it on the record, but I can remember the exact conversation where it took place.
Well, you can feel free to text me because it was misleading to Mr. Canada.
Well,
We did not discuss this during budget at all.
Right.
If we decide to search around, if we can help Pinky find some money, maybe I found it.
Just to clarify, I want to make sure that council is completely aware. There's two different types of funding that Beaufort Water Search and Rescue, gets. So their recurring funding that they receive is from the sheriff's department because they assist the sheriff with water and search rescues. That is $10,000 annually, and it's budgeted in the sheriff's.
It's in his budget.
Correct.
Okay.
The $40,000 request that we received last year, or the request was for $40,000 for fiscal year 2025, and that was the first time that they had been funded in the outside agency group. Like you said, we bring that forward to you guys every year, so just wanted to clarify that there's two different. The $10,000 is recurring, but that's budgeted by the sheriff's department.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Glover.
Well, let's go ahead and figure, Ms. Pinky, Ms. Harriet, the 10,000 is out of the sheriff budget, and then the other is actually from the A-tax? Is that?
No, I believe they submitted an A-tax application for state A-tax. I believe that's what Ms. Tabernick was referring to, and the request was for a purchase of a boat, and I believe legal determined that it did not qualify, which it doesn't meet the code standards for what state A-tax funding is for.
Okay, and so, but that was the A-tax funding?
Correct, state
request.
A-tax, yes.
Right.
We did encourage them to apply for local A-tax when it opens as well.
They have not gotten any funding from the county?
Not for fiscal year 26, no. Aside from what the sheriff budgets annually, no.
And this is an all-volunteer group. And I'm not on the water, but if I were on the water, and if I needed some rescue, I think I need somebody to come out there to help me. So I'm gonna support this effort. I'm just assuming that if it is done, that it will actually be a property owned by the county?
The property that was discussed earlier is county-owned property that they operate their services out of.
It's on Paris Avenue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's on Paris Avenue.
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Passman next.
So what's on the floor is approval to send to council a mid-year budget amendment. But you are saying there is conceivable a possibility of within the current budget moving money around so that we don't have to do it this way.
Correct.
So I would like to withdraw my motion to have a mid-year budget amendment, and as per our discussion, ask administration to take a look at the budget and identify account or accounts that could be modified to meet the amount of money discussed.
Second.
I'll second that.
It's already seconded by Mr. McKellen.
Make sure I understand.
Okay.
Make sure I understand the intent of your motion. Is this the assumption that this process will then move to the Finance Committee to come out?
No.
Or it's coming straight to council?
No,
No,
it's not, it would only come to council if we had to do a mid-year budget amendment.
Gotcha.
The way they're going to do it now, they're just going to tell us at some point in time,
They found the money someplace.
because she gives a transfer report, and this is all she's going to do is transfer some money around.
Correct, and per the budget
It now then states, we're beginning the next year's budget soon.
Yes.
And so you now know what you have to do for the next year's budget.
Ms. Howard.
Yeah, is this 40,000 to be used for a boat? Or is it?
It goes in our general fund. I mean, just think about it for a minute. If you know anything about a boat, we try to get a good quality boat for $40,000. You know, a motor costs $25,000,
Yeah,
a brand new one.
we understand.
We're buying an older boat.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're fortunate we get a boat that's only 3, 4, 5 years old, and we run the heck out of it, you know? So.
Okay, well, and with that understanding, and you understand our budget process now, it's not a guarantee. You have to come each year. The only guarantee is apparently the 10,000 that you get from the sheriff's department. Okay.
Have we covered all the questions for this one? Good. I think we know our marching orders, Ms. Pinky, right? That you'll take a look at that and get back to us?
We have to vote on the motion.
Okay. The motion's been made and seconded.
Well, it really isn't
It's a direction.
It's a direction.
It's just
Yeah,
direction.
it's sort of a
This action item has been taken off the table.
Okay.
And now, per our discussion, administration now knows what to do.
Make sense?
My recommendation is that the motion be to forward it to council and for staff to tell you if they have the money.
That's correct.
An organization for that purpose.
Okay.
And that will be my motion to move it to council for
Okay. And you're going to second that?
directing them to.
Absolutely.
I like that, Mr. McKellen. Okay. With that motion and second, do we have any objection?
No, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to suggest that Mr. Canning also applies to Hilton Head and
was gonna-
Bluffton and Port Royal for funding, since everyone's in this together.
100%.
Can't all be the county, because we're
Absolutely.
building.
I've only been doing this for 18 months now. I've reached out to the county twice, I've reached out to Beaufort City twice, I've reached out to Bluffton once. I missed the Hilton Head date. Port Royal is not administering any funds out of their tax for the past better part of a year.
Okay.
And it's not, they don't have a lot of funding over
Okay.
there anyway, but yes, absolutely, Hilton Head is they're on my list.
Well, I understand Hilton had to do a budget change too. They don't have to use ATEX money.
Thank you.
I'd like to make an
Thank you.
informal request to Pinky not to spend our contingency fund before February.
Oh, good. Mr. Canning, listen, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
We won't, go ahead, Mr. Bartholomew.
Hey, I'm sorry, Brian, I think you cut out there for a minute. I was trying to hear you. I don't think this needs to go to council, does it? It's only $40,000.
Yep, it's underneath
Within the committee purview?
it's under the threshold that's in our purchasing and procurement is what he's
This isn't
mentioning.
purchasing, though. It's my opinion that for council to authorize $40,000 to go to a public entity, it should be a full council vote as opposed to a committee vote. We're not purchasing something. This isn't something that's been delegated to council for purchasing authority. This is a decision whether or not to make a grant to this nonprofit of $40,000 for that, and that should be a full council vote. It doesn't have to be a budget amendment or anything. They can make the adjustments within their purview with their delegated authority, but the guidance should come from the full council with a vote of full council.
Fair enough. You cut out there.
Let's vote here today.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second already for that, so,
I'd say if 6 of us vote here today, should we then all go together with our colleagues and the 6 of us vote again, and then we accomplish the same thing?
understood. We're there. We made the motion, it's second, it'll move on.
Okay, we can expedite it and put it on the next council meeting if you want.
Good, thank you.
That'll be fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, my question is this: have we conducted all the business today? For my first one, I want to thank you all very much. This was a lot of
Kenny,
fun.
appreciate you coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Thanks, man.
So next meeting is after.